I'm hearing so much detail in your analysis of yourself, and that definitely must have played. And I'm hearing a coach, after you finished your playing career, you wanted to coach a little bit. You started the Kasparov Chess Foundation, but you also worked with a couple of very, very strong players. I want to touch a bit upon that. Your work with Magnus in 2009, and I was reading a couple of articles. You already spotted his talent very early on. There were Karyakin was there, Magnus was there in the same generation, but you singled out Carlsen. You said, this guy has it. In 2009, you started working with him. Tell us a bit about that relationship.
No, I think we have to go back to the Soviet days, because it's the idea of coaching. It was firmly embedded in my head, thanks to Botvinnik. So the relations with Botvinnik, they were just fundamental for my success. And I speaking about days I remember. So I remember that's first that I met him, and that was just it was earth shattering. So I was invited. I was 10. I just recently had my first appearance on the Soviet national stage. I played for a zero team at board 5, and Alexander Nikitin, spotted me there, and he organized the invitation, which again it was not real. Again, because it's the Soviet system that was the schools that they had. It was very complicated and just based on your affiliations with certain clubs, and I had no real rights to be there. So by following the bureaucratic procedure, and Botvinnik somehow he just wanted to go beyond this. Is the list of players that were eligible, began by affiliations through this trade union organizations, so sport organizations, and they had 2 players that they invited, myself and Boris Tabarov. He was the Ukrainian. He already a master. He was 2 years older. He already made the master norm and was very very talented player. So he played board 6 of Ukraine. So and it was 2 of us, and somehow I don't know why, I don't remember why, but it was only 1 player who could actually get in. And my mother was convinced that I would not, because I was just first category player. He was just just made master norm. He was really really good, and Botvinnik made his choice. I know because Razuvaev, who sat with him at that day. I didn't know just Razuvaev, and when we left, because we showed the games, and Razuvaev looked at Botvinnik looked at him. And he immediately spotted something else. So this is just the sparking eyes. So this is that was, and I remember the day. So and then I grew up with Botvinnik as a chess player, and it became his favorite student. And in 1978, just when I made my master norm, won the first major tournament in Minsk. It was the last session of Botvinnik school, and he already suggested I would be his assistant. So, and that was the moment where I thought, oh, it's very important to share my knowledge. So and at one point, because they ran out of money, and that was the last session of the school. And when I became world champion, now I could pull a few strings. So, and I raised the funds from the trade union organization, and we restarted the school. And that was my first experience of working with Botvinnik, and we had quite an impressive list of talent there. And actually it was a moment where Botvinnik and I disagreed about the future. Botvinnik was very impressed by Shirov. I don't know, maybe some tolerance. And I said Kramnik would have a better future. Because we had all of this great talent. So this is, I don't know, so many grandmasters, came through. And also I enjoyed very much. That's also part of my, again, it's training exercise, but not only for the students, but also for myself. It also goes back to the Soviet days, the simultaneous exhibitions. Because we had this competition where grandmasters played pioneers, and again, great memories when we were 1974, when I played Tal, played Karpov, I played Korchnoi, and I wanted to play from the other side. So that's why I played 3 times for Baku team, because it's Grandmaster and Pioneers, and we just played simultaneous in 81, 85, 87. Eventually in 87 we won. We won because team was not good, but I just had 32 out of 35. So And then I also played exhibitions in Botvinnik school. So that's again for me. It was just because Botvinnik always wanted to see some action, and instead of them playing each other, so I always played exhibitions. So that's why I played with all of them. So I think I played 60-something games, and I lost only two to Oratovsky and Landa. So two games I lost, and. For me, this is the moment when I just I stopped playing chess. I thought it would be my obligation. I have to go back and do something. And we already had Kasparov Chess Foundation formed here, thanks to our donors in the United States. It's the first one is Stanley Druckenmiller, who just made a huge donation in 2002. So we had already the
seed capital.
But it was already the kind of we work with Michael Khodorkovsky. It was a tool, and in 2005 we started regular programs with young stars. So it's I think all American grandmasters, young grandmasters, just under 30 now. They appeared at least once at least once. So this.
I remember when I was. Showing one of my games to you.
Yeah, because it was actually that was Stanley Druckenmiller asked me to check. Yeah. So because you had to go to Europe. So it was 2003. 2003. Yeah. So and it was just before we had a program. So that's where the kid, So he asked me, should we pay for his trip to Europe? And I said yes. That would be a good idea. So it's it was more like just doing sessions, meetings, so just offering advice. As for Magnus, I saw him already in 2004. I mean, nearly lost him to him. Mm-hmm. So in this rapid, yes. And again, I didn't need a second look to understand what the talent was. And when I stopped playing, they actually visited me in Moscow. Yeah, just to show the games. I remember I sat with Razuaev, but it didn't work out. So it was too early. So And in 2008, I think at the end, I got a call from Fred Friedel, who asked me whether I would like to reconsider. Again, it was also my curiosity. I mean, I had other things to do, but I was still, my practical strength was still okay. So I wanted just to be somehow engaged, and I immediately realized that my work with Magnus could be very complementary. I looked at his games, just the way Botvinnik did, so just studied them, and I realized that my style could be very complementary to him. And also, I just saw that he needed, to be better organized, because he got already squeezed everything from pure talent. He needed now just a new it's a better organization, the structure, because I think it was temporarily he was number one rating, but then he was fourth, fifth, and in January 2009 we had the first exchange, and I advised him during Vikensee tournament, just advise him, and then after Vikensee, so he liked this cooperation. He came to see me in Moscow, and we began working together.
Are you talking about the structure of his thinking, or the structure around him, his team, his support system, things of that nature?
It's everything. Actually, it's the organizational work, but also the openings. So it's and also the working on his weaknesses, because as I said, different styles. So, because we all top players, we have different way of evaluating the position because we have our preferences. So it's, let's say I'm here, Karpov's there, but you still have so many in between. So Magnus was in between, but closer to Karpov. So that's what I just. And I remember I asked about this is the world champions. This is for instance. This is what Just you have because he had pretty good knowledge of chess history and looked at the games, and it was not surprising that the players that he picked up were Capablanca, Smyslov. So this is I already knew that he would be on that side, which meant that the way I looked at the game of chess could be very complementary. So this is his biggest weakness was, I'm not sure that now it's probably still is, because it's something that very very. It's a part of our nature. He was very uncomfortable in unbalanced positions. So because when you just have, because he wanted some kind of clarity and sacrificing. This is it's for attack. That's good because he could have done that. But position positions that were everything hanging, and this is you have to look at at total. It's completely disbalanced. I think he felt uncomfortable. And that's where I could help, because that's exactly what was my strength. So I felt like fish in the water. That's why
this is a good weakness to have, if you have to have one, because so few people are comfortable in these positions. It's such a rare skill in those positions, like chaotic positions.
But that's because I could see that this was him. Why the work was so effective, because everything I knew, the way to prepare the openings, the play, unbalanced positions, that's what he was missing. So that's why it created a very, very, very good synergy, and somehow we managed to work in secret. So he just only revealed it after he won this triumphant victory in China.
In China, yeah.
Actually, I remember while he went in China, so I went to play we celebrated our 25th anniversary of our first match with Karpov. I went to Valencia. So there was we played Rapid and Blitz, and I just Karpov arrived with 3 coaches, and I arrived with my mother, with my wife, and they just looked at me, was I really serious? Yeah, I just didn't want to say I came just from my training session with Magnus.
At any point in your career, did you feel like you had one of those, let's say, moments or years where you felt you were adding new weapons to your, let's say, arsenal?
I think it's very important. I mean, everyone has weaknesses. Some, of course, have bigger weaknesses. Some have more significant weaknesses. I think I sort of rounded myself out as a player more, but sometimes you also lose skills, which is interesting. Like you become more of a complete in terms of your understanding, but you lose maybe some practical skills, especially when with age and motivation. Like, let's say when I was 18, I knew nothing, but I did have some practical skills that were still quite important to my results. So that's also interesting. Like, in your career, did you feel like there were moments when you were better at things, but also starting to like lose some skills, or maybe some skills were becoming more difficult as well?
I don't think it's about losing skills. It's about just changing your approach to the game. So I was always curious when I was a kid, seeing some top players, changing their repertoire. For instance, seeing Geller, from early days, from King's India moving to Queen's Gambit. Then I just realized, you're getting older, and you look for different trends in the game of chess. So this is again, it's about comfort. So, and somehow you're subconsciously you want to move from one type of positions to another. It's I think if I stay longer in the game of chess, it would be probably it would definitely happen, just in a larger scale. But even just in say in late 90s, so especially after the match was crumbling, so I realized I had to correct my approach.
But up until your last professional tournament, you were still playing the sharpest openings, like in Linares 2005.
Yeah. I just
Najdorf.
I played this as well. That's just but there was still certain element. Again, it was not dramatic. As I said, just again staying longer, because when I left, we already had we were at the verge of new computer revolution. So that's why and because I remember when I worked with Magnus, so we just I already realized how far things could advance, but still I with Magnus and even with Hikaru, so I felt that my human contribution could be still very effective, because it's machines, but you still have to come up with new ideas, and also just have very high standards. So this is for quality. So this is we just have to look here and there, and I think it's my decision to leave was timely. Yes.